economist Winnie Monsod voices her deep disappointment, calling corruption in the Philippines world-class. She recalls that in the 1960s, our nation once led Asia's economy. How far we've fallen. Let's watch this.
And the results of their investigation should be completely publicized by everybody, because it's actually based on data.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not scared of naming names because they have the evidence to back them up. They say, if you want the SEC files that we have, you press this button, and all the SEC files naming, with all those
kompleto sa ebidensya. That's true.
Talagang basehan sila.
Yes.
Ito.
Anyway, ma'am, so maganda yan, pinakita nyo rin kung sino ang dapat na iniimbestigahan. And you're saying in effect na yung mga public tuloy, they're left in the dark, in effect, kung saan talagang issue. Ito naman ang tanong ko. Meron bang complicity rin yung public dyan? Kasi sila ang mga nasa poder. Yan ang sinasabi ngayon, no? Ano nangyari?
Sila naglagay sa poder. I mean, who was the one that put these people in power? Hindi ba tayo?
So we're all complicit?
No, really. And why do we put them in power? Because they buy us. Di ba, ang dami-daming vote buying dyan. It may be, they may not be buying my vote, but they may be buying so many other people's vote, and those people put them in power. And those people don't realize that once they're in power, they get so much more from the general public than what they have paid to the general
Let's
public.
calculate that.
Okay. Let's take one approach.
Election.
Here. Let's take one approach. So yung total.
Yeah.
Not just flood control, so the election, they are paid, let us say they are paid 3,000 pesos every 3 years, because every 3 years may election. So that's 1,000 pesos a year. They get 1,000 pesos a year. Okay. How much do they lose a year? One way of looking at it is say, what has the country lost in terms of corruption? In other words, because there is corruption, there is slower growth. I mean, because so much is, instead of spending 50 million on this project, you're spending 100 million.
Yeah.
You're wasting, right? There is slower growth. Ang Pilipinas, diba noon, ang Pilipinas, 1960 ito, 1960, mas malaki ang ating per capita income divided by all the Filipinos, kesa sa per capita income ng Thailand, kesa sa per capita income ng Indonesia, kesa sa per capita income ng China. Ang per capita income natin noong 1960, 3 times more than China's per capita.
Wow.
I swear, you will cry, nakakaiyak. And in Thailand, we were about almost 40% more than Thailand's per capita income. And Indonesia, doble tayo. Ngayon, saan tayo?
Saan na?
Indonesia, Thailand, China, their income is so much greater than our per capita income. And so you say, why? Why did they grow so fast and we grow so little? Di ba? Because when you grow, your per capita income becomes small. All right. Nakita ng mga saliksik ba yan, yung studies, that the biggest factor affecting these differences is government policy and institutions. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Yung patakaran ng gobyerno at saka yung mga institutions. What you mean is, how good is the Congress as an institution? How good is COMELEC as an institution? Ayan. So, halatang-halata that we grew less than them because our policies were wrong and our institutions were corrupt. Were weak. Corruption, etc.
But they will say,
how much? Okay. What does that mean? Okay. Ganito ang ginawa ko, Kung, halimbawa, tayo ay nag-grow as fast as China.
Okay, kung nasabayan natin.
If we had grown as much as China during these years, you know how much our per capita income would be? $24,000 per purchasing power. What is it now? It's $3,000. Okay?
Yung mga nanonood ngayon, makasabihin, bakit corrupt din naman yung mga Chinese, Corrupt din naman yung mga Indonesian. Ngayon nga, grabe yung protesta ngayon.
Except ang corruption natin world class. Paano natin?
World class tayo.
Parang si Pacquiao. No, that's not a joke. Ang World
So
Economic
tragic if it
Forum
weren't
nagkaroon ng survey about the countries that are politically are corrupt. And may survey sila, how do you this corruption become, everybody's corrupt, but like for example Singapore is minimally corrupt. Indonesia and Thailand are medium corrupt. You know what the Philippines is? Highly politically corrupt. We are in the same level as Venezuela, the mga countries in Africa. We're the only country in Asia that was considered highly politically corrupt. So there is corruption and corruption. But for example, the Indonesians, in the corruption of Indonesia, they're corrupt, no question about it. But they do the projects, especially infrastructure projects. Those infrastructure projects are there forever. Ayun tayo
okay.
Sa Cagayan de Oro, September natapos yung bridge, November wala na. That's highly politically corrupt. And itong flood control projects na yon, Diyos ko po, nakakasuka. Because sabi nga, imagine from 2011 to 2025 we have spent 1.7 trillion pesos. It's not 1,000, no? It's not 1 million, it's not 1 billion, it's 1 trillion pesos. That was, by that time, if we had spent that properly, the Philippines would be completely immune to floods. And yet, what do you say? We lose lives, we lose days of work, we lose, housing, everything. That's what we lose for corruption. Thailand, by the way, is now almost 3 times. Akala ko Thailand was nothing. Tapos naunahan tayo ng Thailand. Sabi ko, Indonesia, wow, they have 200 million people, 250 million people. They have a greater problem. Naunahan tayo. So how? Tapos, Vietnam noong 2019, naunahan pa tayo. Diyos ko po.
Saklap talaga.
Well, what is that? Ano yan? That is because our government, our politicians are so bad. Why are they bad? Because they put themselves ahead of the country. If I am a politician, I'm going to try to make the best for the country. But politicians, generally, unless they are stopped by law, by everything, they will try to make the best for themselves.
Yun na nga.
To maximize it.
Wala nga raw accountability.
They say, oh wow, this is so good, I better give it to my children. Yeah. And so we have dynasties all over the place. Why do you think? How much is the government salary? How much? And yet they take it because they abuse their power. They abuse their power.
But yun na nga, ma'am.
And they're not going to change it until we, the Filipinos, say, you got to change it.
Parang we seem to be trapped in some kind of conundrum. We vote people we believed were going to help change the system.
You do? Do the Filipinos really vote for the people they think will change the system?
You're saying that we have not changed election-wise? You're saying we have not changed election-wise. We haven't educated ourselves voting-wise.
And you think it's education? It's only education? When the politicians keep them poor, they're easier to manage, right? It's shown. It's shown. Areas where there are political dynasties, the people have less income, less education, etc. Those are studies that have been completed all over the Philippines. And yet, you have people say, oh, but Elizalde ko, he was, ako Bicol. Jesus. Look at Martin Romualdez. Yeah. His wife and his son are party list Congress people. Please naman, why are you doing this to the poor? They have, the Constitution gave them that, that pataan, they gave them that advantage, and then the political dynasties got that and used it for themselves. Isn't that yung talagang, I don't know, it's brazen. Ganapalan yan. They don't care. I have nothing against Martin's wife and his son. They're nice people. But they should not, they should not be a party list. Who do they represent?
How do we change this?
And we can start. Let's start with the present. Those hearings in Congress. Why do people say, why are you concentrating on this contratista and the DPWH? Hindi ba sinabi ni Senator Lacson na 25 to 31% of the money is going to politicians? Why don't we identify these politicians so that we can blacklist them? Kasi ang gusto ng mga senador at kongresista, i-blacklist yung mga kontratista who have been unsatisfied. I agree. But we should also blacklist those politicians who have been making money from the guts of the
How do you
Filipino
blacklist a congressista?
people. Well, just say, oh, well,
They're already there. They're seated. Oh.
no. It's not now. When they run for re-election, you say this man got X amount of pesos, you know, from the Filipino people. You want to vote him in?
But we have short memories.
Oh, well.
Yan ang sinasabi nga.
Well, that's where the communications and the
Kasi
media comes in.
2025 pa lang ngayon.
That's where the
2028
communications and
ang
the media
election.
come. Well, we have TikTok, we have social media, etc. They're very, very active. I'm sure it will come.
You're sure?
Well, my favorite subject is we have to get the barangays. Smallest unit of government.
Aren't they already captured also?
They were not meant to be captured, but they were captured like the party list system has been captured. But we can get it back. Why? Because we're the one that's voting. Surely, yung barangay, surely we can do that. Let's not concentrate on app first kasi matagal yung app eh. But you said, okay, let's blacklist the politicians. Let's get the names of the politicians and we will bring it out on television. Ito ang mga nakuha ng politicians. And then maybe we should send some of them to jail.
Accountability.
What happened to, what's his name? I don't know. Who was that woman who bought so many?
Janet Napoles.
Yeah.
PDAF.
Yeah. What happened to the politicians? They all got away.
Exactly.
They all got away.
That's why.
So we will try again this time. I mean, you got to fight. Democracy is not something that you just smell and enjoy. You fight for it.
Corruption has dragged us down, stealing opportunities from generations. It's time we ask ourselves, how did we fall this far, and when will we rise again? Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.